Awesome. All right, we're gonna start recording. So, thank you everybody. Welcome once again to another live stream. And for you gear enthusiasts, today is gonna be an awesome day because this one is titled Gear Meets Edit. Gear Meets Edit. And I'm going to be talking about specifically ultra wide lens, how the Yongnuo 11mm lens is great for shooting in tight spaces or for tight space shooting. Yeah, so we're gonna go over the best, the reasons why everybody should get a ultra wide lens, and I don't mean just everybody in general, but mostly the young creators, the newer creators, people starting to get into videography and all that, and why I wish somebody would have told me this when I was younger and I first started getting into it. So if you've ever tried filming in a small room and you just end up cropping half of your frame, half your footage in Premiere, this Yongnuo lens, 11 millimeters f 1.4, fixes all of that, and it saves me a lot of time in editing. It saves me a lot of editing headaches. Why? Because shooting extra wide just gives you that ample room that any other focal length won't. And this one specifically is for a crop sensor. So if you know anything below 16 millimeter, even on a full frame, is actually pretty good. But they don't really tell you this when you're first starting out or when you're learning about focal lengths, right? You start with the original, like 24 millimeters, something like that. But what ended up happening with me is that when I first started shooting, even like client work or even just for myself, I didn't really have a lot of space. Like even in this room, there's not really like a crazy amount of space. It's not a warehouse or anything like that. It's fairly small. And what happens is that the lenses that I had to work with in the beginning, at least the cheaper ones, were more of like the 50 millimeter range, and they just weren't cutting it. It was just too close, way too into your face. And whatever, I made it work. But what ended up happening was I didn't have a lot of flexibility when I was editing. So it wasn't really until I got into the ultra wide lenses that I was able to really use that extra space. And it didn't matter how close I was or how tight of a space I was, even doing client spec work. It gave me that flexibility to do a bunch of different things when it comes to specifically editing and editing challenges like cropping, reframing, and even jump cuts. Like you aren't able to do that if you have a really tight focal length on your face or on whatever the subject may be, right? Okay, so we're gonna start with let's see, the cropping and the reframing. It's fantastic. I'm gonna show you a couple of examples, as you can see right here on the screen, and anybody watching on TikTok, just make sure to go to YouTube so you could follow along and follow the screen share. You guys can see what's happening. All right, cool. We're gonna get right into it. So, why the 11 millimeter helps? And you're probably asking yourself, why did I choose the Yongnuo 11 millimeter? Probably the retail price of it is like less than, it's probably like at 250 right now, if I'm not mistaken, maybe give or take a few dollars. So it's super cheap as opposed to the crazy other lenses. Now, if you're shooting like I am with Sony, native lenses are the best, but you also have to kind of, if you don't have a crazy budget, which I didn't and I don't right now, then, this one does way more than, it's like a super bang for your buck. And the beauty of it is that it captures more in a single frame, especially if you're doing vlog work or a lot of B-roll where you just want to get a bunch of shots of specific subjects, could be products or people. You have less need for reshoots. You don't have to shoot over and over again because, with all these different focal lengths, you're actually just using one focal length and you already know that it's really wide. So it gives you a lot of flexibility to cut in, cut out, zoom in, zoom out, right? And it's easier to cut between wide and close shots, and it doesn't look jarring, like just out of nowhere. It actually, gives you that flexibility because one thing is that you want your edits to look smooth, and allows a lot more creative movement in cramped setups. Again, like we were talking about. And if we go back to the what I'm showing you right here on the screen share, on the windows, I have Premiere already opened up. I'm actually going to bring the timeline a little bit lower because we're not going to look too much on the sound. So we're going to open up this window just a little bit more. Now, you can see right here, I'm going to play you this one right here. So, okay, so this right here is the 11mm shot, right? And this is a really tight space, as you can see in the corner, and it's so wide you could even see my key light, which is this one that I'm using right here. You could see it right there in the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and press play. Check it out right there. I'm editing. You can see my speakers. You could even see a bunch of lights that I have on the left side. Awesome. I'm going to turn around and give you a thumbs up. Now, this is the same exact positioning, same exact in-camera settings as the 11mm, and I want you to take a look at that. All right, so this is the one. This is the regular shot. Same length. Now you can already see that I'm super cropped in. Half my head is cropped out. You can't even see the chair. You can see exactly what I'm doing, and you can see me. And thumbs up. And that's it, right? So let me compare that one to the one right here and the wide millimeter, and look at that. Look at the difference on that. That's one, and then the regular shot, look how cropped in that is, right? So just imagine when you're editing and you have everything here in your on the program Premiere Pro, what options do you have to crop in with this one, right? I'll give you another example. So this is a super tight hallway, and right here, this is the regular, right? So as you can see, I'm super backlit, not too much light on me, and I'm in between a hallway, right? Look at me right there. I'm doing this. I'm gonna let it rock. Let it play. I'm doing positioning so you can tell where I'm at. Point of reference, whatever, hand spread out. Boom, excellent. Now I'm gonna go to the ultra wide, and as you can see right there, look at that. You can even see that I'm not wearing any socks. That's how wide it is. All right. You can see all the way up the ceiling, and you could even see how small of an opening it is in that in the hallway. And you can see a part of the door of the bedroom door that's all the way on the other side. And if I show you exactly how the floor plan is, it's super far away. But this is how much flexibility you have to like crop in, crop out. So take a look at that. And I'm gonna press play. Check that out. Look at that. Have my arms crossed. Look, I'm already putting my arms up so you can see exactly how wide it is. And it's, again, this is the same positioning. Cameras didn't move at all. I just changed the lenses. So boom, super regular. So you have some room, and then you go to the ultra wide and you have crazy amount of room. All right. Now, yo, what's up, Sebastian? Now, look at this example number 3. This is another hallway. This is kind of like there's a closet behind me, boiler room right there, bedroom on the left. I left it open so you can see some light coming in. And this is the ultra wide shot. This is what we started with, right? So I'm using the Yongnuo lens right there. As you can see, I take a step back. Look at all that room we have. You can see the light switches on the side. I stepped up, and boom. Now we switch to the regular. So I just want you to look at that right there. The crop is right up to my head. Right there, you can cut a little bit off, and it's like right below, what is that, mid-thigh? And I stepped all the way back. Same positioning. I know what you're thinking. Yes, I could use a couple more push-ups. But let me go back to this one. Ultra wide, regular. Ultra wide, regular. That's a big difference. Now, let's say you're filming a YouTube video, right? And you have the camera, talking head, and you have the focal length right here in front of you. And you want to, nowadays, social media's jump cuts. You want to jump for a little bit closer, a little bit farther away. This is the beauty of using an ultra wide lens, right? So we're going to go to the regular one right here. As you can see, I'm going to press play. It's like crop is like right here up to your chest, a little bit higher up depending on your positioning. Everything's super close to me. Got the low key setup. I'm not really saying anything. I was just kind of like mimicking all the stuff, and I did the hand movements, hand gestures. I think I do it. Look, okay, there we go. See, I did these hand movements right here. So I'm really tight on those edges, really, really tight right there. Not too much room. This is the furthest out I can go in this regular focal length. If I wanted to jump a little bit closer, I'd be super, in my face. And I don't know about you, but I don't mind the close up, but you don't need to be that close in my face. I just don't like it. It's just not necessary. I mean, I'll do it if I had to, and I have done it, but you don't have to do it. Shouldn't have to do it. But anyways, so that right there, that's all we have to cut in. Now I'm going to show you the ultra wide look. So that's the regular look and then ultra wide. Awesome. Now, it's different lenses, so you can see the colors look a little bit, not even that much different, but look how wide it is. You could see my key light. You could even see the backlight, even like this light that I have right here. You can see that light. You can see the plugs on the wall. I'm all the way down here, and I have crazy room up top above my head. So what does that do? What's the difference right there, man? It's a big difference. You have more creative movement. And again, this isn't a big room. Let me go back to that. This isn't a big room, man. This is like a full corner. Like if I showed you it, it looks like there's a lot more space than there already is right here. There's not, there's not, it's super cramped. And let's say you were doing this for a client. This look will make your room look awesome. And that's why, or bigger than it already is. And that's why you'll see real estate agents use super ultra wide lenses, because it makes the space look bigger, right? So that's why you'll like, if you're ever looking for an apartment or something, and then you'll go, it'll look big, and then you'll go into the apartment and actually look at it. It's actually not that big. It's just that ultra wide lens really expands everything, makes it look super wide in what it is. Yeah, so let's go into, you saw the side by side. So the standard lens versus the 11mm. And then I'll show you how, if I crop in, look at, okay, so this is the regular look. Let's say I want to crop into, let's go to 60%. I'll show you how close that looks. Look at that. Not too bad, but again, it's very close. Now let's go into the wide look. Let's crop in. Let's go to 60. Look how much more I can crop in. Look at that. I can crop in all the way here, and it still looks pretty awesome. And then look, that's 93. And let me go to 80. And that still looks really good. You know what I mean? We go to 70. It still looks fantastic. And you can still hide a lot of stuff in the back. Let's go to 60. And it's still super, super wide. There's so much to cut from. I could even focus in on different things on the screen right there. So, think about that when you're shooting, right? Let's look at another one. So let's say you want to do product work and then actually focus in on a specific thing. Here is me shooting from a point of view, real close to the keyboard. I'm gonna press play on that. Boom. So that's at 50%. That's a regular. So let's say I'm typing it in. And I could actually go in a little bit tighter, move the frame a little bit more. Oops, hold on. Let me actually click on this and move in a little bit more. I'm at 70%. I just move the frame of it right there. And then look at that. Super tight in. I like that tight shot, and I'm just typing in the keyboard. There we go. And that's it. I just shot it once, and I have a bunch of different angles that I can do, right? And then let me just reverse that. Oops. Let me go to 50. And that one right there. All right, cool. And then let's say I want to do, so this shot of the screen, the camera, this is actually my live stream setup right here. Let's say I click on that right there, You can see my screen. And I'd say, I'm like, you know what? Let me go in and actually focus in on the screen. It looks really awesome. Well, if I actually clicked on the clip, it would help out. Right there. I'm super close in. And I want to move the frame just a bit more, kind of center that. And then look. You know what? Let me close in on the timeline a bit more. So let me go really in there, fill out the screen, drop down just a tad, and then boom. And I'm switching that up. Right there, we have 3 different shots, 3 different angles, all from shooting one clip. Now, if I had the standard lens, I would have to probably shoot this a couple different times. I'd have to get a little bit closer and then go a little bit further back. With this one, I just knock everything out in one shot. This is why you need the ultra wide lens. All right, let me go all the way back. Let me go to 50% and check that out right there. Boom. All right. So again, if you've ever struggled in tight spaces, try an ultra wide. So just make sure if you have an ultra wide lens, you want to tag me in your first edit. I want to see your space to edit results. Show me how tight your space is and what focal length you're using. Anything below 16 millimeters is an ultra wide lens. So go ahead, show me that. And then you could really go into that fisheye, but I think the fisheye is more of a stylized look. You know, you'll see that in a bunch of music videos and other different types of videos. It's a stylized look, so it's a specific style in sense. In other words, like you can't really use it for standard work unless people specify that they want you to use that type of look. So fisheye, I'll stay away from that. I think that's, it really depends on what camera you're using, but like, 8mm and below. But this 11mm is actually right there, right at the cusp, but still ultra wide lens. And it's fantastic for vlogging, especially when you're turning the camera around and shooting yourself. You don't want to be too tied up. It's awesome. But yeah, tag me in the ones that you're using. That's the end of this live right here. Thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're watching on TikTok, make sure you go to YouTube, and then you can follow along to everything that I'm screen sharing for you guys. So I appreciate it. I'm going to end it right here on TikTok. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I'm going to end it right here on YouTube.